Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blues Feed for another episode with the same obsession this week. And this episode in particular is always going to be one of my favourites because Tottenham got battered again. Before we get into the episode, just want to remind you all of the 1K subscriber giveaway. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we will be giving away a Chelsea shirt from this season. All we need you to do is to comment on one of our videos and subscribe to the channel. And we will get that done as soon as 1,000 subscribers is hit. Before we get even deeper into the pod, I just want to talk to my mate, Danny Windsor. How are you on this fine Monday morning, mate?
Very good, mate. I'm very good. We beat Tottenham, so we can't really moan, to be completely honest with you. I thought, obviously, we'll get into it, but ultimately, they looked terrible. And I think partly that was to do with us, and partly that was just they were terrible. But they did absolutely nothing. I think there was one pot shot from Kudus in the first half, and that was about it that they really created, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I thought Spurs were terrible. Terrible. I thought we nullified them really well. Um, for once, I thought we looked really solid at the back. I know there's a few individuals we want to talk about in relation to that, but overall, it was a. It didn't feel it during the game, but it was a relatively comfortable performance. I know for me that whenever we play Spurs, and to be honest, whenever we are 1-0 up against anybody, I always think that it could just go astray, and it really is. It's a nerve tingling game. I think when you're 1-0 up, and especially against Spurs, predominantly because they didn't deserve anything out of the game, and that's why in the last 10 minutes or so I was absolutely bricking it. And it didn't help that we had a power cut on the 79th minute, so I lost about 3 or 4 minutes in the middle, which was not
Oh, I bet
ideal.
that was stress.
Yeah, that was stress. Yeah, it was just like constantly like refreshing flash score to see if there was any updates. But
Yeah.
yeah, bit of stress. But how was it for you overall, Danny? What's the summary?
Yeah, pretty similar to be fair, mate. Like, I mean, first half we absolutely dominated them. We were creating loads of chances. We didn't let them do anything. Then I think we did a little bit of what we do quite often, which is sit off a team and just kind of we're trying to soak up pressure, which just gives me a lot of nerves because I don't really back our defense to do that. And then I thought there was a few players that were just knackered, like Neto and Jao Pedro, which is why I was screaming for kind of Gui and Esteval to come on to kind of give some fresh legs more than anything. Um, but yeah, it was just a bit stressful as we kind of let them have a little bit more of the ball, but they didn't really do anything for it. That was kind of my only gripe in the game was that he didn't replace well, he did replace Neto, but only with like 20, 15, 20 minutes to go, and then Jao Pedro just played all 90, where I'd have quite liked to see Guiu just harassing them, um, pressing them, and just giving Jao Pedro a little bit of a rest, but also kind of freshening up the side. But I mean, overall, it was pretty good. I have to say, I hated the lineup when it first come out because I don't like right backs at centre mid, and I didn't like I didn't like the fact that we didn't play Josh, but I have to say I got it wrong. I thought Fafana was fantastic, which we'll talk about in a minute. I thought Trev was back to a bit more of his usual self, and Reece was fantastic in midfield. So I have to say I got that wrong, but yeah, it was a pretty spot on performance all round. To be honest with you,
It's one of them things, isn't it? Like when you see the lineup like that, it's always going to be a bit frustrating. Going back to the old adage of sort of square pegs in round holes, but like you say, there are occurrences, I suppose, where it works and it's required. I mean, Reese's physicality in the middle was one of the biggest contributing factors to us winning that game. So yeah, I think
and Gusto
it's
played like more of a traditional right back role, which
yes,
made him look a lot better. I don't like it when he's playing in like inverting or playing just as a midfielder. I don't think it works particularly well.
yeah, I completely agree, mate. And it was a shame because I think everyone performed really well. Neto had an off day. Let's be fair. He didn't do enough with the ball. He was obviously working hard as he always does, but on the ball, I thought he was pretty lackluster to be honest. But that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone has an off game, and similar to you, I think I got it wrong by I mean, I never really comment. I know normally in our little group chat, it's you that gets the most frustrated with the lineups, and normally rightfully so. I normally don't, but I think I was the first to message on Saturday with how frustrated I was around the lineup. I was really worried before the game. It's a similar thing because what's the need of playing Reece in midfield when he's a right back, when you've got Lavia on the bench, or you've got Andre Santos on the bench if you want to bulk out that midfield a little bit, or you've got the likes of Josh, who's been brilliant in recent times. Fofana, I had a feeling could play because he hadn't played for 10 days or so before that, and he was superb, let's be fair. Trev hasn't been great recently, but like you say, he was better. I still feel like Josh could have enhanced that, but at the end of the day, Maresca got it bang on in the end.
Yeah, I never really expected Josh to play because he played 90 in the week, but I was still very annoyed that he
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, for
To be
sure.
honest. But again, like I say, I'm not always right. I enjoy a moan.
Exactly.
I'm not always right, but it's Maresca got it spot on, and I
Yeah.
think the only thing, like I said, the only thing that I could say Maresca didn't quite get right, and it made no difference. So
No.
technically he did get it right, but
Yeah.
I just think he could have taken Neto off a bit earlier because he was stifling some of the attacks, but still working hard. But then he looked knackered, and then João Pedro also
It's just
looked
that little
knackered.
bit
But
of
outside of
in-game
that,
management, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Just and that's one of the more consistent issues I have with Maresca is just that in-game management. But yeah, like we say, he got it bang on Saturday. Danny, I know we spoke before we started recording. There was a few individuals we want to talk about. Let's start with Robert Sanchez, because to be honest, neither of us are the biggest fans of him, and I know a lot of fans aren't. But we're 10 games into the season now, and bar that issue against Man United, which, in my opinion, wasn't completely his fault, he had to come out and try and win that ball. He's been flawless this season so far, I'd say. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Man United's the only one he's made a mistake in, and he's just been kind of doing everything he should be doing. He's just been, saving the shots he should be saving. He's been very dominant from crosses, as he usually is, to be completely honest. And he's not any brain fart moments apart from Man United. I get your point on he had to come and try. I think it was just rash. I don't think he
It
really
was
had to
definitely
come that
rash.
far out, to be completely honest.
It was definitely rash, but with 10 games in, he's had that one moment of madness, let's call it. At what point do we get to in the season where we say, okay, maybe he's turned a corner in his career, and now he's getting older and he's starting to mature a bit? But by no means am I saying he's Chelsea's number one for the next few years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to judge it as we are. At what point do we say, do you know what? He's turned a corner, and he's a bit more consistent, and he seems to have matured. Now he's getting a little bit older, as goalkeepers generally do. They mature later.
I'm going to reserve that judgment now, and the reason I say that is because Sanchez usually has brain fart moments in like clumps, whereas he makes a mistake, he then gets real nervous and he continues to make those mistakes. He didn't do that against Man United, but obviously we're only 12 games into the season.
Yeah.
But I have to say that
But that's my question. So
he
when does it get to a point of consistent? Let's
if
say he
he does the whole
continues
season,
these, so it's got to be the full season of him continuing
yeah,
for
for
him to go,
sure.
do you know what, you've turned a leaf, sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure, because it will get to like at the moment the games do matter, but they're not as important. And
Yeah.
we're going to get to Champions League knockout, and we're going to get to semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We're going to hopefully progress in the FA Cup. We're going to get to games where we have to win to get into top four, for example, in March and April time. And then that's when the stress and the kind of whole pressure enhances. That's usually when Sanchez cracks, and hopefully he doesn't. But I mean, I have to say that he is progressing into a goalkeeper where he is going to be perfect for next season, where he could start as number one while Penders beds in and gets used to it, and then be a very good backup / competition for Penders.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean there, mate. And I think for me, it's got to be, if he can go all the way through to sort of February with that massive backlog of fixtures around that sort of December, January time, and continue the form he's showing, give more confidence to the defence without any brain farts, then I think he could be the perfect goalkeeper to just keep for next season, allow him to start the season as number one, start bedding Penders in through the cup competitions, and then the likelihood will be Penders will end up replacing him. A bit like a lower level Czech and Courtois, where Czech took the reins, Courtois went out on loan, and then when Courtois came back, he phased Czech out, and Czech ended up being the cup goalkeeper for a year before he left. But yeah, so aside from Sanchez, I know there's a few other players we wanted to talk about. Or not the last one, but the main one that I want to discuss is Wesley Fofana.
Mhm.
He has his critics, mainly due to his fitness and his unavailability, I suppose. But I thought he was monstrous on Saturday. I thought he snapped everything up in the air. He intercepted well. He carried the ball well. He progressed the ball well. And it just proves that actually something we said last week or the week before is ever so slightly incorrect of we haven't bought a good centre back under this regime. We have. He's just not got the ability to stay fit. And if he had that, if he had the fitness of a Trev, he'd be our starting centre back for absolute certainty. But the issue is he's got to get to the Reece James position of being fit for a long period of time now. Like Reece has been fitting back in the squad for almost a year now with no injuries, and Wes has got to do that. And it's the same for Lavia as well. He's another one who's got to start getting over these fitness concerns. And realistically, if you're having lots of different injuries, it's going to be partly your body and the way you're produced as a human, but it's also going to be down to little things like how you treat yourself after games, how you recover, how you eat, what's your diet like, that sort of thing. So there's definite things that players can do to help that. Like you look at Reece. Reece has shredded a bit of muscle off, and he's now a little bit leaner than he used to be, and he seems to be working for him. So, but going back to the performance, I thought Wesley Fofana was fantastic, and if we can keep him fit, it will go a long way to keeping our defence a lot more solid.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, I thought he was dominant, just completely dominant. I mean, he had 2 interceptions, 3 clearances, 4 ground duels, won 6 out of 6 aerial duels, one not dribble pass once. Like, and his passing was very good. He completed 81% of his passes. He did 4 long balls as well. Like he was just completely and utterly dominant. And I agree 100% with you on what you're saying, Wesley Fofana. If Wesley Fofana stays fit for the rest of the season, Wesley Fofana and Josh Achimpong will be our 2 centre backs because Josh is just class and Wesley Fofana was brilliant. And it's going to sound weird for the listeners because they know that I'm not the biggest Maresca supporter. I have to give Maresca props again because we haven't seen him. We didn't see him midweek. We didn't see him last weekend. So obviously Maresca's decided to give him a bit more of a rest, recover, and then put him in for the Spurs game, and he was fantastic. And again, he can rest against Karabag because we shouldn't need him against Karabag, and then he could play against Wolves at the weekend.
Yeah, and then have an international break off as well.
Which he's not going to go to France. He won't get selected for France. So then you've got another 2 weeks. And the same with Lavia as well. Like you mentioned Lavia, I thought he was good when he came on. I really liked the shift of taking Gusto off and putting Reece back to right back and bringing a midfielder into midfield. It gave us a bit more control at points as well. But Lavia has played 3 or 4 times now since he's been back. He could play a few minutes against Karabag or start against Karabag, a few minutes off the bench against Wolves, and then he's got 2 weeks of recovery and more training, and it could work perfectly because we're going to need both of them over the very busy Christmas period that's about to come up. We're going to play after the international break. I think we play every 3 days until like the 10th of January. So we're going to need them.
Yeah, for sure. And like you say, I think Maresca, this is one thing that he deserves ample amount of credit for, is the way he manages our injured players. I do think he does it really well, and Reece is a prime example of the ways, and he's done it with Wes before. I think Wes was unlucky last year when he hit a good reign of form and he was playing lots of games that he got a real weird injury out of nowhere, and then that really set him back because he weren't playing in the cups, he wasn't playing in the Conference League, he was just playing 12. He played 12 or 13 league games in a row, 90 minutes, and then he picked up an innocuous injury, and it was a bit frustrating. And if we can get to a level of resting him for the odd game and then playing him, then resting him, then playing him, and making sure that the games that he's playing are the crucial ones, that will really go a long way to us succeeding this year, I think. But
100%. I think
we just can't get too ahead of
because the
ourselves.
frustration for me with Maresca is that 100% agree with you. Is he manages the injured players very well. He just doesn't manage the rest of them that well. Like he plays Moy into the ground and Enzo into the ground and Neto and Pedro into the ground. Just adapt a little bit on that front, learn from that, and you'd get 10% more out of Fernandez, Neto, Pedro, and Caicedo. Like you're saying they can't train, and then Pedro looks absolutely gattered, and then you've got Guiu on the bench who will just go run around and piss everybody off for 20 minutes. So just give Pedro a bit of a rest. But obviously, Delaps can play in the Champions League against Karabag, so you don't have to play João Pedro in there. So hopefully he'll give a bit of a rotation side against Karabag, and we'll all be happy. Just on that point as well, I think the other person I'd quite like to talk about is João Pedro. I thought he looked a lot sharper. It's probably his best performance in the 9 of the season, if you don't count the Club World Cup, like since the new season started. I think he just looked a lot sharper, to be honest. I think he looked like he recovered a bit, and played really well. I mean, he could have had a hat trick, I think, realistically. I thought he was linking up really well. He was dropping in. He was creating chances. He got 2.2 xG of shots, so he should have definitely scored more. But I thought it was a very good performance from him.
Yeah, completely agree. For my FPL team, I'm slightly frustrated he didn't score a few more goals. For Chelsea, I'm slightly frustrated he didn't score a few more goals. But overall, he got the goal that mattered. Say that again, mate. You there?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I am a bit frustrated because I took him out. So
yeah, see, I knew I wasn't going to take him out because we got Wolves and Burnley next two in the league. So I thought I'd keep him for that. But yeah, he looks so much sharper. I still prefer him as the sort of the 10 linking up with the 9, but he can definitely play that 9 role. And I think actually it's a bit like the old school way that we used to use Havertz. Like the big games, maybe Pedro's better as a 9 because he can bring other players into play. But it's the games where we're going to dominate the ball even more, where you want him to drop deep and help create. So we can use him sort of multifaceted, if you like. So yeah, really good from him. And the last player I just want to touch on, we spoke about him briefly already, is Reece. Yep. He's just a fucking ridiculous footballer, isn't he? Like he's so
just
good.
A joke, mate. He's just a joke. I mean, anybody who says there's a better right back in the Premier League or in the world is an idiot. To be honest with you, he's genuinely one of the best footballers in the world because he goes and plays in midfield and he dropped into centre back a few matches ago when we had everybody getting injured and sent off and stuff, and he did really well. He plays right back really well. He's defensively ridiculous. Nobody ever really has him on toast ever, and his passing is ridiculous as well. So yeah, he's just genuinely one of the best footballers in the world, and you can drop him in anywhere. I'd still like to see him a little bit more attacking when he does play right back, but we can have that gripe another day.
Yeah, and it's that I think that's more Maresca based than it is Reece. Not
no, absolutely.
Because when you, like you say earlier, when Malagusto plays there, he plays more as sort of an out and out right back, traditional right back, if you want to call it. But yeah, super.
And Reece plays traditional right back, overlapping full back when he plays for England. So it's definitely not a Reece thing. But
again, that might just come down to Maresca managing Reece and keeping him available.
Absolutely. I think the one thing I would just mention as well, we've obviously got the shape on the right-hand side. That is just perfect managing of the team and the team executing the manager's kind of plan there. Like everybody's in the right position. You've got your four defenders in the right position with your fullback slightly higher. You've got your two clear pivots. Enzo Fernandez is obviously in that left half space, but he was kind of playing kind of 10, kind of 8. Neto was high and wide right. Like what we saw on the pitch, and probably what Maresca had in his head before the game, was executed, and you can see it in the shape of the team as well. So
yeah, for sure.
big props to him. He got this game plan spot on. Big props to the team for executing it as well. So yeah, very well played all round. And 3-point lane strikes again, and we batter Tottenham every time.
Tottenham get battered everywhere they go.
Everywhere they go. Yeah, I've been singing that since the final whistle. Just
Well,
going my
I
hand.
think that is the perfect way to wrap this up. Keep tuned for our Carabao preview, which will be out tomorrow. Let's hope we can get another 3 points in the Champions League and finish this little period before the international break strongly. We'll be back with that. Thank you all. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and also get your comments in. Tell us anything you want to hear from us or anything you want us to debate, and then we'll make sure it features in the next episode. Thank you all for watching.